Recently, a journalist asked the president of Belarus, Alexander Lukashenko, if Belarus would use the nuclear weapons deployed by Russia in their country. Do you know how he responded? He said, "In Ukraine, the entire army is using foreign weapons, NATO weapons to fight. So, why can't I use someone else's?" I have to say, this reasoning is truly innovative. In other words, he actually compared nuclear weapons to gardening tools borrowed from a neighbor. I can imagine him saying something like, "Vladimir, do you mind if I borrow your nuclear bomb? I have some weeds in my backyard that need clearing." This president is just so unique, nothing seems to faze him. I even suspect that if he woke up in the morning and found nuclear weapons on his breakfast table, he would say, "Ah, it seems like there's a new flavor for breakfast today, toast with a hint of nuclear radiation." So, I guess next time when my neighbor questions why I'm using his electric lawnmower, I can say, "The Ukrainian army is using foreign weapons, so why can't I use your lawnmower?" It's like going to a restaurant and telling the waiter, "Hey, I see those people at that table are eating your food, so I'll just go over there and eat theirs." Lukashenko, let me tell you why. Because we're talking about nuclear weapons, not someone's Xbox controller. However, I still hope President Lukashenko can distinguish between nuclear weapons and Xbox controllers. After all, if he really confuses the two, I'd rather have him as just a neighbor rather than a president of a country. Next time a journalist asks you this question, you can respond like this: "I will respect international laws and uphold world peace." We all hope for such an answer. After all, you're not playing Tetris, you're playing the real-life version of Fate of the Global Village. Let's talk about our friends in Ukraine. Do you know that weddings there have been booming recently? Yes, you heard it right. During times of war, it's not ammunition that's selling like hotcakes, but wedding dresses. The situation is quite interesting. Look at that groom named Nikita, haha, he's holding a gun in one hand and embracing his bride Polka with the other. Can you believe this is the latest wedding trend? Combining love and warfare, this is something even Romeo and Juliet never tried. Firing at enemies while proposing to your loved one, wow, I'm telling you, this is the perfect fusion of love and war. I bet the bride must be thinking at that moment, "Please let his hand holding the gun be steady, or else we might just vanish from the face of the earth." Did you know that in Ukraine, organizing a wedding doesn't just require a bride, groom, and officiant? Now they also need bulletproof vests and helmets, haha. If you think your wedding is nerve-wracking, go to Ukraine and see theirs, it's even more thrilling. I bet the DJ at their weddings plays songs like, "I Will Survive," instead of "Love You for 1,000 Years. You see, this is life. No matter the circumstances, we must fight for love, even in a real war. I admire those who choose to get married in turbulent times, they are the true warriors. Their belief is as unbreakable as the engagement ring they wear, constantly sending us a message that love is invincible. So, my friends, no matter where you are or what you face, remember that love is our umbrella, our lifeboat, and our bullet. When you pray for Ukraine next time, don't forget to bless these courageous warriors who marry for love in Ukraine. Let's raise our glasses to them and wish that after the war ends, they can safely return home and spend their lives with their loved ones. Now, let's talk about the latest law in New York called NYC 144. Basically, if you're an employer using AI to assist with hiring, you have to check if that AI has any biases. I'm not kidding, don't laugh. Yes, you heard it right. Just imagine those poor employers. Not only do they not have time to review resumes themselves, now they have to check their robot interviewers for political correctness. Picture them sitting in their offices, saying, "Listen, little robot, I need to make sure you have no biases. You won't just throw someone's resume in the trash because their name sounds like it's from outer space, right?" I can already imagine how this conversation would go. The chatbot would respond, "Error, error, I am a robot, I have no biases towards extraterrestrials. I only discard resumes that are written in an alien language." To be honest, hearing about this new law makes me a bit worried. I'm concerned that in the future, recruitment decisions will be solely controlled by AI, and we won't hear those classic HR manager phrases anymore, like, "What are your expectations for this job?" or "What are your weaknesses?" Perhaps future interviews will be more like, "Beep beep. You used too many verbs in your resume, and the HR robot feels you're too active for this position. You're eliminated, beep beep." But you know what? Maybe it's not such a bad thing. At least we won't have to worry about getting nervous and sweating during interviews. In the future, all we'll need to do is sit in front of the computer, wearing pajamas, eating potato chips, and watch the AI on the screen say, "Beep beep. We can tell from the way you eat potato chips that you're not suitable for this position. You're eliminated, beep beep." Haha, that would truly be a talent selection in the age of technology. So, my friends, let's embrace our technological era. Remember, if one day you fail in an interview, it might not be because you're not outstanding enough, but because your AI interviewer forgot to adjust their bias detection system. Have you heard about Elon Musk's Twitter reform? Well, when you're the richest person in the world, you can do whatever you want, even buy Twitter and turn it into your own toy. But be careful, Musk, because while reforming Twitter, you might accidentally push Twitter users to another place. Do you know where? Yes, that's Mark Zuckerberg's new favorite, Threads. Did you know that Threads has already launched in over 100 countries? Actually, Threads also wanted to serve in the European Union, but I guess the EU is still figuring out how to translate Threads, or maybe they're busy dealing with Facebook's data privacy issues. I mean, the EU has been keeping a close eye on Zuckerberg. They might have his picture posted on the wall with the label, "Wanted." How did Zuckerberg's Threads beat Twitter? Well, it has over 2 billion active Instagram users. Yes, you heard that right, 2 billion. It's like, if every Instagram user gave you $1, you'd be richer than Musk. Yes, Zuckerberg might not have just won the race at the starting line, he might have already crossed the finish line. Furthermore, you might not know this, but within less than 24 hours of launching, Threads already had over 30 million registered users. This is like a nightmare for Twitter, or you could say that Zuckerberg's rocket has flown over Musk's head. And did you hear? Zuckerberg even hired employees from Twitter to help develop Threads. I think this might be Musk's worst tragedy in his life. It's like your ex not only took your dog but also took away your best friend. It's just too crazy. What can I say? Maybe now Musk can only sit on his rocket and watch Zuckerberg enjoy the joy of victory on Earth. Ah well, I think this war isn't over yet, so let's wait and see. Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko, who facilitated an agreement between Wagner Group leader Yevgeny Prigozhin and the Kremlin, revealed that Prigozhin is in St. Petersburg and not in Belarus. Lukashenko told the BBC that no one became a hero in the Wagner Group rebellion. Neither Prigozhin, nor Putin, nor Lukashenko. What lesson can we learn from this? If we create such armed organizations, we need to closely monitor them. As the Ukrainian counteroffensive intensifies, the Ukrainian military has been using Western long-range weapons to strike military infrastructure and supply routes in the Russian-controlled areas. U.S. officials say that Washington is considering sending American long-range missiles to Ukraine. Biden meets Swedish Prime Minister. U.S. President Biden met with Swedish Prime Minister Kristersson. On the 5th, prior to the meeting at the White House, Biden said to Kristersson, "Sweden will make our alliance stronger and share the same values as our NATO. I'm really looking forward to your country becoming a NATO member." It is reported that the White House is currently working to persuade Turkey to approve Sweden's NATO membership before the NATO summit in Vilnius, Lithuania next week. Bulgaria is close to reaching an agreement to sell 2 Russian-made nuclear reactors and other critical equipment to Ukraine's state-owned nuclear energy company. If the deal is successful, it would mark the first use of Russian-made nuclear power equipment to help boost Kyiv's energy production since the start of the conflict in Ukraine. Russia has announced the closure of a Finnish consulate in Russia, marking the latest escalation in tensions between the two countries following Finland's NATO membership a few months ago. Blinken sends birthday wishes to Dalai Lama. July 6 is the 88th birthday of the spiritual leader of Tibet, the Dalai Lama. U.S. Secretary of State Blinken issued a statement congratulating him, stating that the compassion and humility of His Holiness have inspired many people around the world, and I deeply admire his continued commitment to peace and nonviolence. The United States will steadfastly support the Tibetan people's language, culture, and religious identity, including their right to choose and venerate their religious leaders without interference. Samsung Electronics predicts a sharp 96% decline in operating profit for the second quarter. The initial boost from the frenzy surrounding generative AI services is not enough to overcome the broader technological slump, which has dampened sales of storage chips and other semiconductors. An industry expert said, the Nasdaq market is dominated by larger tech companies, many of which are already profitable or close to profitability and can ride the wave of AI. In contrast, most startups are still several years away from achieving profitability. This year, AI-themed exchange-traded funds, ETFs, have become increasingly popular. Although these ETFs have different compositions, almost all of them have Nvidia as their top holding. The AI boom has proven to be a powerful force against the previously slowing tech economy, driving up the stock prices of many tech giants and illuminating their growth prospects, while also giving rise to a wave of new startups. U.S. crude oil production has surprised analysts by increasing 9% year-on-year as of April. This comes as a surprise because crude oil futures prices have been falling, and the shale oil boom in the U.S. is showing signs of peaking. The increase in production is partly due to improved efficiency, and it suggests that OPEC's ability to control oil prices may weaken as production continues to rise in other parts of the world. A new report shows strong demand for gold amid global economic uncertainty. Gold prices have remained strong this year, and with major central banks entering the final stages of their interest rate hike cycles, this trend is likely to continue. DoorDash, Uber Eats, and Grubhub have filed a lawsuit against the city of New York, seeking to block a new law that sets a minimum wage for delivery workers. This lawsuit escalates the ongoing struggle between these apps and the city of New York over how to regulate the industry. The US FDA has granted full approval for Leqembi, allowing Medicare beneficiaries to receive full insurance coverage for the treatment if they meet certain conditions and agree to report data to a registry. Most of the 6 million Alzheimer's patients in the United States are eligible for Medicare, the federal health insurance program. In the first half of this year, electric vehicle sales in the United States surged by 50%. However, the growth rate has slowed due to a backlog of unsold electric vehicle inventory at dealerships. The owner and operator of the Titan submersible, OceanGate Expeditions, announced a pause in all exploration and commercial activities. Last month, 5 passengers inside the submersible died during a Titanic wreckage exploration. The U.S. stock and bond markets declined on Thursday, as strong new economic data reinforced expectations for further interest rate hikes. The S&P 500 and Nasdaq both fell by 0.8%, while the Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped 366 points, a 1.1% decline. All 11 sectors of the S&P 500 were in the red, marking the worst performance since May. The United States is currently experiencing a shortage of housing and a surplus of vacant office space. Converting some office buildings into residential units could potentially address both issues simultaneously. One skyscraper in Manhattan, New York, has undergone such a transformation. Hello everyone, I'm your news anchor Yali, here to provide you with a one-stop service for global news every day. Feel free to leave comments in the comment section, and we will carefully read and respond to your comments. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. See you next time, take care everyone.